What's shaking, Chewy Nation? ChewbaccaLlema here, back with another Madden 19 video. Today we're talking about Team Diamonds. Diamonds, completely unique to EA Sports, not taken from any other franchise. But it is actually a pretty common name and would make sense to maybe take the place of Elite. Tell me if this makes any sense. Bronze, silver, gold, Elite? A diamond would be better there. Maybe platinum? You know, something. It just doesn't make any sense. Whoever came up with that, termination. Or 1 hour in a very isolated room, closet size, with this guy. I'm guessing most people in the comment section are taking the termination if you're in the job. I can't blame you there. But that's not what this video is about. We're talking about Team Diamonds. Diamonds. How exciting is that? 32 of them to be exact, because there is 32 teams in the NFL. I can think for myself. Look at that. 32 of them. And let's go ahead and start with the most popular position of all, quarterback. First up, we're going to talk about Matthew Stafford. Some think that this could be the best quarterback in the game with that 94 throw power and 70 speed, which is actually pretty solid for a quarterback. He's going to have great mobility, 88 throw on the run. This card is going to play extremely well, and those throwing stats, though may not look outstanding, remember that all stats are kind of nerfed, and this is actually really, really good throwing stats. It is going to cost a lot of coins to do these Team Diamonds, though. You have to put in the top 30 core cards for that team. And we're talking for the Detroit Lions, we're talking about Darius Slay is going to have to go into the set. Matt Prater, kicker, you know those are going to go for a lot. Golden Tate, Glover Quinn, Core Matthew Stafford, Rick Wagner, Marvin Jones. There's a lot of cards you have to put in. The top 30 core cards need to go into the set. So these sets are going to be crazy expensive. But when it comes to pure expensiveness, I think this will be one of the cheaper ones, because there's nobody, Darius Slay, and Matt Prater, I guess. But besides that, there's no probably cards that are going to go for a ton of coins. Darius Slay's only an 86, so he won't be like an 89. How much those go for is outlandish. So the set will definitely be a lot cheaper than the other quarterback, which is Tom Brady. This card, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the game. Now, I know the speed is not great. If you like mobility, you're probably not going to go with Tom Brady. Can completely understand that. But his throwing stats, this card, he's not going to be missing throws for you, at least pretty much never. So he's going to be outstanding. But think about the cards that have to go into the set. Just the top ones. You have Rob Gronkowski. You know he's going to go for so many coins. And same with core Tom Brady. They're both going to go for a ton. And also an 85 kicker in Gostkowski. So I think this card is going to cost so much that most, if not, no one's going to have it. But I mean, the video is about the Diamonds, so I have to talk about it, and I do think he's the best quarterback in the game. But I can't imagine the coins would be worth it to put into this card. I'm going to say Matthew Stafford, coin-wise, is a much better investment. Running back time, Melvin Gordon getting a Team Diamond. Man, that card looks so good. That looks amazing. The 88 speed, well, the card art looks amazing, but the actual card looks great as well, with that speed, the spin move, the juke move, the carrying up to 93, so hopefully fumbling's not an issue. This card looks exceptional. You got to take into account, it is going to cost a lot of coins again for these. You're going to have Keenan Allen, Joey Bosa, Casey Hayward, all in the set to get this card, so he is going to cost a little bit of coins, but running back, he's one of the best in the game. Maybe not the best, but he's definitely one of the best. Speaking of the best, Le'Veon Bell, the best back in the game, my opinion. 87 speed, the best back in actual NFL, and the best back in Madden. With that 87 speed, you see it. It's just across the board. It's so good. But of course, this guy's going to cost a ton of coins because Antonio Brown goes into the set, and Antonio Brown's going to cost so many coins. And then not only do you have Antonio Brown, you're going to have core Le'Veon Bell that has to go in there. And then also the offensive linemen like Gilbert, DeCastro. It's going to cost a lot of coins to make this card, but he is so good. Value-wise, probably not there. I probably would go with a cheaper option, whether it's just core LeSean Bell or maybe the Team Diamond Melvin Gordon. But man, whew, that card is so good. All right, wide receiver time. Let's start off with Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry from now the Cleveland Browns. If you look at this card, it is pretty good. I think it's pretty solid. You got the great short route running, which you would expect from a Jarvis Landry who catches everything from about 3 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Pretty solid after the catch as well. Got some good, really good juke move there at 87 for a wide receiver. I like this card, 85 speed. Of course, you wish it was a little bit higher. You always want more speed, but I think the card with the good traits is pretty solid. I do think, though, unfortunately, out of the 4 wide receivers, Mr. Jarvis Landry is the worst. We got Odell Beckham Jr. from the New York Giants, 88 speed, top-end speed at the beginning of the game. Not many receivers over that, as well as that juke move. The after the catch is going to be explosive. The spectacular spec catch and great route running, really. Overall, this card is really good. The run block at 58. Honestly, he's a better run blocker than Jarvis a little bit. And I think is a really, really good card. And because he plays for the Giants and they don't have a whole lot of top-end elites, I don't think the set will actually cost that much to make. So that's good. I mean, it's actually really good for Odell fans or people that want to have a really good wide receiver. I think when you're comparing him to other wide receivers, this one is going to be on the cheaper end of the 4 because of the fact that he plays for the Giants and they don't have any talent. So that's good. And then we have Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald from the Arizona Cardinals. If you look at this card, obviously you see spectacular catching stats as well as very slow on the speed, which is expected from a Larry Fitzgerald at 79 speed. His run block is the best in the game at wide receiver. 69 run block, 72 impact. The only one somewhat close is his core elite, which makes sense. And then I think Julio is the next wide receiver. So really good run blocker and a really good catching the football. Unfortunately, his low speed could get in the way, but he's got great size. I'm really excited about this card. I hope that Fitz plays well in Madden 19 because he hasn't really played well since Madden 16 with aggressive catching. Now, hopefully, not saying I want aggressive catching back, but I just hope he plays well because he is one of my favorite players in the NFL. Great guy, and I hope to see him play well in Madden 19. Finally, we have Julio Jones. Will be the most expensive of the group, I think, without a doubt. 6'3", so he's got the size just like Fitz, but he's got 87 speed. He's not quite the run blocker, but he's pretty good after the catch. He's got great catching stats. Overall, this card, good run blocking as well for a wide receiver. He's not Fitz caliber, but he's one of the best in the game. I mean, Julio Jones, always one of the best wide receivers in the game, and right now, this besides Moss, I think Moss is clearly the best wide receiver in the game. I think Julio is probably the second best wide receiver day one. He will cost a lot to do, and I know many people won't have him, but I think it's clear that he is definitely the best diamond wide receiver. Tight ends, real quickly, Delanie Walker, Travis Kelce, Greg Olson. Delanie Walker, what does he have? Great blocking at 83 run block. His pass block is only 64. We'll talk about that. His impact is 80. Just a fantastic run blocker. Good speed. 82 speed, solid. For a tight end, that's pretty good. And then the catching stats are pretty good overall. I think the card looks pretty solid. I do think, though, he is unfortunately the worst tight end of the bunch. Now we have Travis Kelce at 6'5". He does have the size on Delanie Walker. 80 run block, which is pretty solid. The 82 speed there as well. Great catching stats. Really, really, really good tight end. I think this one is a great run blocker combined with better catching stats on Delanie Walker as well as size. So I do think I like this card better. Delanie Walker's a little bit better run blocker, but outside of that, everything else pretty much goes to Travis Kelce. So I would say Travis Kelce is fantastic. One of the best tight ends in the game, but is he the best? Finally, Greg Olson. Clearly the best tight end. Let's be honest. It's definitely Greg Olson. The one thing is, he does have Luke Kuechly that will go into the set to get him, which is going to be tough, just coin-wise to afford him. But pass protection. He's a great pass blocker, maybe one of the best. And then he also has ridiculous catching stats. He's also 6'5". This card is so good. It stinks that you have to put Luke Kuechly into the set. I'm assuming you get these cards back that you put in the set maybe as NAT or however that works, but that's going to be the thing that stinks about it. But overall, this card is so good. He's one of the best just overall players in the game, I think. I think he could make the case as one of the best players in the game. Greg Olson. Whew. Offensive line, throwing them all together. Sorry, you're not going to get your own time, but you know, it's offensive line. Lane Johnson, David Bakhtiari, Travis Frederick, Kelechi Osemele, and Marshall Yanda. Marshall Yanda, being the lowest overall, would definitely be the cheapest. He's Baltimore Ravens offensive lineman, right guard. So he will be cheap because there's really not any top-end elites for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that's why they made him the lowest overall, because he's going to be the cheapest to complete. But outside of that, not much else to say. They're like the best offense alignment at their position, so all pretty good. I guess I could say there's one at each position, so that's pretty cool. All right, defensive tackle time. We have a trifecta: Gerald McCoy, Geno Atkins, and Ndamukong Suh. I think it's pretty clear, given the overalls, that Suh is definitely the best defensive tackle of the bunch. But obviously, Geno and Gerald McCoy also very good. I actually prefer Geno, even though he's the one overall under McCoy a little bit more. I like Geno just because of speed, but very, very similar cards. Both of them very, very good defensive tackles, and they all have great block shed. So I would say all three defensive tackles will be good. Whichever's cheapest, which will probably be Geno, given his lower overall, I think is probably the best value. He just looks so good. So yeah, all three defense tackles, really, really good. Ndamukong Suh, get him a Rams jersey. And then we have two defensive ends. We have a right end in Jabaal Sheard and a left end in Cameron Jordan. What stands out to me is the fact that Jabaal Sheard, he's only an 88 overall because the Colts have really no one that goes into the set. T.Y. Hilton and Andrew Luck, really not that expensive of cards that will go into the set. So he's going to be cheap. This Sheard card looks amazing with the block shed, the finesse move. I'd say this is a card that I would recommend going after. If you're going to do some team diamonds, this is one that I would definitely recommend because of how cheap he is to make, or cheap relative. I still think he's going to be expensive to make, but it will be cheap relative to the other guys. Definitely like him. Cameron Jordan looks incredible. I just worry that it's not good enough for me to warrant the price tag that he will cost. For being that 91 overall, having to put those Saints in the collection to get this Cameron Jordan. He is obviously one of the best, maybe the best defensive ends in the game, but it's hard to warrant spending that amount of coins when I don't even think he's that much better than a Jabaal Sheard. So another left end, right end, but I'm just saying there's going to be better options for coin value than this Cameron Jordan, but obviously very good. Middle linebacker time, there's two of them. I really like the way they spread out the positions. I really do like that from EA here. We have Avery Williamson and Reuben Foster. What stands out is that Avery Williamson, not terrible, and there's like no elites on the New York Jets, so he will be very cheap to make. But again, you'll have to see the other 87, 88 overall. You have to compare them to see if it's worth your coins, but still very, very solid card with decent block shed. You know, he's going to be good against the run. Obviously not great against the pass, but he should be pretty good there. And then you have Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster is just better across the board, and his zone is getting up to 83. So this guy's going to be kind of interesting later on in the year with good block shed power. It looks, upgrade-wise, this card could be really, really, really good later on in the year since he's starting out with these sorts of attributes. I really, really like this card. I don't know. He might cost he's going to cost a little bit, but this card looks to be one of the best middle linebackers in the game. All right, we have the two outside linebackers filling out the whole team. We got Ryan Kerrigan and Jadeveon Clowney from the Houston Texans. Let's talk about Kerrigan. Obviously, fantastic pass rusher. He's one of the best pass rushers from an outside linebacker in the game. 78 speed, of course you wish it was a little bit higher, but really outside of that, amazing pass rusher. 84 block shed, of course, you wish was maybe a tad higher again for the run game, but overall this card is incredible in one of the best pass rushing linebackers in the game. And Jadeveon Clowney. Now it's going to come off a little bias, I'm sure, but this might be, this is up there, I think, with the Greg Olson with how good this card is just across the board. You see the 83 speed, you see the elite pass rushing, you see the block shed even up there at 89, the power, pursuit. This card is so very good. And I think you're going to want him to be rushing the passer every play. You're not going to want to drop him in coverage, but I don't know. I'm sure it comes off a little biased because I am a Texans fan, but Clowney always has amazing cards, and they did not disappoint again this year. Whew, this card is so good. Cornerback. We have 4 corners. We have Tre'Davious White, Chris Harris Jr., Xavier Rhodes, and Jalen Ramsey. The first thing that comes off when you look at these cards is the block shed. It is really low on basically all secondary players. So let's talk about Tre'Davious White first. 47 block shed. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Obviously, not great, but when you see the other cards, it's not really that bad. 85 speed, good man, good zone, good press. Overall, really like this card. One of the better low-end corners in the game. I mean low-end compared to these guys. The other guys are going to cost a lot more. He plays for the Bills, not a whole lot of top-end players, so it will be cheaper to make this card. I think this card is actually really good. We'll have to see how much price-wise it will cost if you're going to go with him or like a Stephon Gilmore flashback. Might be cheaper to make, but we'll have to make that decision when we get the game. But overall, I think this card is really good. Corners are, of course, really important. You're going to need 3-4 of them, so I would say he should be on your list of guys that you might want to check out. And we have Chris Harris Jr., 58 block shed, actually really good there. And then also the 86 speed, great catching as well. Man coverage zone, both at 91. No thresholds this year, but that is obviously very good. Play rec, he's going to play the run extremely well. I think this card is exceptional. Remember, though, he does play for the Denver Broncos, and they do have Von Miller, so that is going to be very expensive. But, if you just look at the card, it is extremely good. And outside of Von, I don't think there's much there from the Denver Broncos that is going to cost much. Obviously, Von's going to cost a lot, and Chris Harris Jr. is going to cost a lot, but he is very good. And we got Xavier Rhodes. 87 speed, the 56 block shed, pretty good. This card, one of the most well-rounded corners, perhaps the most well-rounded corner in the game with that man coverage, that zone coverage, the press. He is absolutely amazing. This card is incredible. If you have him, and then we'll talk about the last guy, Jalen Ramsey, in a minute. These cards are so good compared to the rest. But he's a 92 overall. There's a lot of Vikings that are going to make this set is going to be extremely expensive. It's going to be hard to rationalize spending coins to make this card. But if you can, that card is amazing. And then we got Jalen Ramsey. The one thing that stands out, obviously he's incredible. He's a great man corner, zone corner, press. He can do it all. He is great there. Is they definitely nerfed the block shed for him. 46 block shed. They do still give him the hit power, and I believe he still has the big hitter trait. I don't even know if they changed traits this year. And he has strips ball trait. So, clutch, high motor. He has the traits are like perfect for a corner. So, yeah, this card is amazing. But Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of top-end players that are going to cost so much, just like Xavier Rhodes. So, both these corners are going to cost a lot. I think this is probably the best corner in the game. You could argue him and Xavier, but they are both extremely good, and I like it. Finally, we have the safeties in Rashad Jones, Adrian Amos, and Earl Thomas, and technically Ronnie Lott, but we'll talk about that at the end. Rashad Jones, 88 overall, not much talent on the Miami Dolphins, so it won't cost that much to make compared to the other guys. It looks okay. Again, Rashad Jones cards, let's comment on here by Swole Cobb on Mutthead. They never really look that good, but sometimes they play well, so hopefully that's the case. I don't really see much to stand out here, except he's got good catching stats and good hit power, which is solid. He's 6'1", good size. I like it. I think he's pretty good. And then we have Adrian Amos with the 90 speed. 90 speed. His catching stats are definitely a little low. His hands, not great there, but he does have the 88 hit power at the strong safety position. Man coverage, zone coverage, both really good. 83 man coverage at the strong safety position. If you're manning stuff up, trying to run some very, top-end sort of gameplay, where you're manning up your safeties, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, this card could be really good with that 90 speed, and 83 man's not terrible. So I think he is very, very good. And then Earl Thomas always has crazy high zone at 92, has great hands, good hit power at 87 at the free safety position. They did only give him 52 block shed, so of course the corners don't have great block shed either, but you wish that was a little bit higher. That's definitely where he does fall a little bit short. Good speed at 88, and he's also only 5'10", but obviously a very, very, very good card. Will cost a lot, with the Seattle Seahawks. There is a few, like Bobby Wagner, there's some top-end cards that will cost a lot. Russell Wilson, even at quarterback, because people are going to want that speed. So it's going to cost some coins to make, but he is really good. Worried about the height a little bit, the block shed, but still, really, really solid card. All right, and finally, I guess I should mention Ronnie Lott. He is the master. If you do all the team diamonds, you get this guy right here. He is obviously very, very good. But I will say this. I don't think he's going to be as game-changing as some other cards in the game, like Randy Moss. I wouldn't say I would rather have Randy Moss, I think, on my team than Ronnie Lott. Take a downgrade at this position and then also have Randy Moss on my team, as opposed to spending all the coins that you have to do all the team diamonds. I think that's how it works. And then get this Ronnie Lott. Obviously, it's very good. Maybe the best card in the game. But the card that I want the most, that I think will make the most plays and going to show up more often, would be the Randy Moss legend. So it's fantastic, okay? It's a very, very good card. And that shall do it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I'm excited to get my hands on the game. Of course, I don't have the game yet. It's about a week away with EA Access, which I'm really excited to bring some content, being able to show the actual game. That would be so amazing. Right now, I want to thank you guys so much. Just me talking and being silly and having fun with some weird stuff. It is fun. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I try to make it as quick as possible, but sometimes it still goes on a little bit, like I'm going on right now. But make sure to come back, Come back. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested. And if you're not, still hit it. Maybe I'll make a video that you are interested in. Okay, that's all I got. ChewbaccaLemma, out.